think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
The Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces? Listen, this isn't just a basketball series. It's practically a heist playing out live on national television. Indiana completely stunned everyone by stealing Game 1 in Vegas. But from that very moment, the entire script changed. The Aces didn't just fight back with sheer talent or brilliant adjustments. Nope, they had the refs squarely in their corner, giving them whistles so ridiculously lopsided the game barely resembled a fair competition. And Stephanie White, she absolutely wasn't about to stay quiet. In what was arguably one of the most emotional post-game interviews of her entire career, she publicly demanded nothing less than a league-wide investigation into the absolutely shocking state of WNBA officiating. Fans inside Gamebridge saw it with their own eyes. Social media was blowing up about it, and the box score, it confirmed everything. The Aces weren't actually beating Indiana, they were being handed wins on a silver platter. The real tragedy here is that those phantom whistles completely overshadowed the incredible grit, the unwavering resilience, and the pure heart the Fever brought to the floor every single night. Let us know down in the comments below if you honestly think the WNBA will actually clean up this mess.
Disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways. But we also can't allow that to consume us, right? Like, we've got to be able to play through that. We've got to be able to control the things that we can control.
Now, let's just be absolutely clear here. This wasn't Indiana's first rodeo playing against two opponents at once. The team directly in front of them, and the officials holding those crucial whistles. From the absolute jump, it was glaringly obvious exactly where the favoritism tilted. Game 1 essentially laid out the entire blueprint. Las Vegas simply couldn't generate any real offensive rhythm. So what did they do? They leaned heavily on free throws to claw their way back. Meanwhile, Indiana's genuinely physical defense, their incredible ability to body up cleanly and effectively, somehow magically transformed into foul trouble whenever it perfectly suited the referee's agenda. The Aces were practically allowed to throw elbows with impunity, while the Fever got tagged for what felt like breathing too close to an opponent. That double standard wasn't just subtle, it was practically screaming at anyone who bothered to pay even a shred of attention.
Steph, why don't you think you were able to find any flow, and when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively. We didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm, it's about timing, it's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
But here's where it gets crazy. By Game 2, the situation became absolutely undeniable. Those whistles didn't just casually appear, they explicitly dictated the entire pace, systematically pulling Indiana out of their rhythm again and again. And by Game 3, that blatant bias had evolved into an insurmountable wall that the Fever simply couldn't scale, no matter how hard they fought. The single moment that truly symbolized this whole mess came vividly in the third quarter. Aaliyah Boston, Indiana's undeniable anchor, challenged a foul call against Jackie Young. Stephanie White instantly motioned for an official review. The entire bench was on their feet and ready, and fans across the arena braced themselves, hoping for justice. But the officials, they acted like absolutely nothing had happened, flat out refusing to even acknowledge the request for a review. And what happened seconds later? Chelsea Gray drilled a three-pointer, completely flipping the game's momentum on its head.
Asia Wilson is 1 for 12 as a foul is called on Boston, and that will be number 2 on Aaliyah Boston.
You saw Indiana picking up full court pressure defensively, and if you're Aaliyah Boston, that's the one spot on the floor you do not want to get a foul called.
And Stephanie White is trying to challenge it and did not call the timeout in time. Gray in the corner
So what happened? What had been a hard-earned Indiana lead was brutally ripped away, not by some brilliant execution from Vegas, but by a call the refs wouldn't even allow to be reviewed. The Gainbridge crowd erupted in sheer disbelief, their cheers rapidly turning into a deafening chorus of boos and absolute fury. Clips of that exact sequence spread like wildfire online within minutes, with fans and analysts alike pointing to that precise moment as definitive proof of rigging. And those breakdowns showed way more than just one missed review. They chillingly revealed an undeniable pattern of egregious flops, sharp elbows, and cheap shots by the aces that were somehow magically invisible to the officials on the court.
2-minute recap from last night. So A'ja Wilson pushes Howard in the back. Howard pushes her in the back. It's a foul on Howard. Look at this. Aaliyah Boston gets totally fouled by Nalissa Smith. Like, it's obvious, but no call. And then A'ja Wilson gets the call for not half as much. And then Nalissa Smith gets the call for not even getting touched. Here's a replay just to prove it to you. Yep, didn't get touched.
And that's precisely when this whole situation stopped feeling like simple oversight and started looking an awful lot like a deliberate agenda. Just watch the tape, seriously. You'll see Wilson bulldoze through Boston with her shoulders lowered like a fullback, and the play just goes on. Indiana defenders were tossed to the ground, but what did you hear? Silence. Meanwhile, if a Fever player so much as brushed a jersey, the whistle blew like they just committed armed robbery. This was never about Vegas simply outclassing Indiana with superior skill. No, it was fundamentally about the refs handing them lifelines, one after another, until the scoreboard inevitably tilted exactly their way.
Follow it up by Lexi Hull getting called for the foul.
I thought it was egregious, honestly. I mean, I thought it was obvious. I felt like AB got one. Had one going to the rim, they're in rotation, and then Lexi's, I felt like equally, we talk about, coming into the path, and it was an offensive player veering into the defensive player's path.
But here's where Indiana truly proved they were different, because a lesser team, most groups, would have absolutely broken. They would have dropped their heads, muttered endlessly about the unfairness, and just folded under the pressure. But not the Fever, not this group, and the undeniable symbol of that incredible defiance was none other than Lexi Hull. Think about it for a second. How often do you truly see a player who, by all accounts, probably shouldn't even be on the floor, nearly flip the script of an entire playoff game? Well, that's precisely what Hull delivered in those last few games. Coming off a painful back injury suffered way back in Game 1, she was listed as questionable for every single game that followed. Her warm-ups looked stiff, her movements were clearly uncertain, and it honestly seemed like she'd only log a few minutes here and there, as a mere placeholder. But Lexi Hull didn't just log minutes, she transformed the night into her own personal jaw-dropping showcase of sheer resilience, the kind of legendary performance fans will be talking about long after the series fades from memory. Lexi,
You have drawn the most offensive foul in a W this year, including the playoff. How are you able to do that?
I'm just trying to defend as hard as I can, and there's only certain screens you're allowed to set, so just trying to trail them, and that's all I can really say.
16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a critical steal. And get this, she did it all while shooting an incredibly efficient 6 of 10 from the floor, draining 3 absolutely massive triples, each one feeling like a desperately needed shot of oxygen, reviving Indiana whenever Vegas tried to pull ahead. Those 3-pointers weren't just numbers on a stat sheet, they actually tied her with a Fever playoff record across 2 games, giving her a stunning 8 total, a feat absolutely no one expected from a player battling through agonizing back pain, and her 16 points, that was a career playoff high, delivered right in the middle of all that chaos, all the controversy.
Boston has the mismatch on Lloyd. Help comes. Kick out. Hull will fire. And hit from 3. Last 2 positions inside from Indiana. Smith tied up by Hull. And a jump ball.
What truly made her performance remarkable wasn't just the sheer statistical output, it was the intense physical manner in which she got every single one of those stats. Every possession was an absolute war. Loose balls instantly turned into violent collisions. Rebounds became brutal wrestling matches, and yet Hull never ever backed down. Cameras caught her grimacing in pain more than once, visibly struggling, but that never once stopped her from ferociously boxing out players who were significantly bigger and undoubtedly healthier than her. She dove fearlessly on the floor. For every loose ball, she sacrificed her body again and again on crucial rebounds, and somehow she still had the incredible presence of mind to knock down clutch threes on the other end. Every single play she made wasn't just worth points, it injected vital life and pure adrenaline back into the Fever. Every single time the officiating tried to bleed them dry.
On the left side of the floor, just to clear out, letting Jackie Young go to work.
Jackie Young with 17 points. Boston to the corner. Hull, catch, fire, and hit. Correct call. Evans dishes. Ray whips a pass inside. What a denial from Lexi Hull.
The Hull able to save the play.
12-point game, a little under 2.5 to go. Hull hits Indiana's first field goal of the quarter.
And that's precisely why fans instantly rallied to her. The Gainbridge crowd isn't blind, they knew exactly what they were witnessing. A true warrior playing through unimaginable pain because her team needed her. Plain and simple. Every single rebound she pulled down, every critical shot she drilled, brought the crowd roaring back into the game. Even when those relentless biased whistles tried to snuff out every last bit of energy and momentum, Hull's incredible effort was, without a doubt, the beating heart of Indiana's unwavering resistance.
Eddie back to Hull, wide open three is good.
The floor that she wants, doesn't it?
It does. Mitchell, cut it. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell, one more. You bet.
But here's what truly makes that night sting even more. On the very same night, Lexi Hull delivered arguably the best playoff performance of her entire career. The conversation wasn't about her. It wasn't about her gutsy 16 points or her absolutely incredible 10 boards. Nope. It was entirely about the referees shamelessly tilting the game. The spotlight that should have celebrated her sheer courage and defiance was tragically stolen by a cloud of controversy. And maybe, just maybe, that's the perfect metaphor for the Fever themselves, perpetual underdogs, constantly underestimated, and perpetually shoved aside, yet somehow still standing tall, still fighting. So, let's put this in stark perspective. On one side, you had Hull giving absolutely everything she had, dragging her aching body through excruciating pain for the sake of her teammates. And on the other, you had Wilson, the supposed MVP of the league, largely absent when it mattered most, propped up only by a steady stream of whistles that granted her chances Indiana never ever got. That striking contrast tells the entire heartbreaking story, one team earning it with sweat, sacrifice, and pure grit, the other being shamelessly carried on the shoulders of officials who seemed far more interested in protecting the Aces brand than letting the Fever's incredible fight genuinely shine.
Offensive foul, practically a football check, and the Aces score. So now the Aces cut it to 2, and then A'ja Wilson sets an illegal screen, and they tied things up. And then Lexi Hull gets called for a foul for doing nothing when they just had 2 illegal screens they didn't call. All right, so this is fair. Same thing happens on the other side, but they don't call a foul for Kelsey Mitchell. So Leah Boston gets called for this foul for getting her arm grabbed, but Stephanie White can't challenge. They won't let her. That's the second time this game they didn't let her have her challenge. And then A'ja Wilson starts acting like a big baby.
Picture this. Can you believe this? The league's most decorated player, the so-called MVP, going nearly 3 full quarters without a single basket. Yes, that was A'ja Wilson in Game 3. She opened the night with a confident three-pointer that honestly looked like it might set a tone for pure dominance. Instead, it tragically turned into her lone highlight for the entire first half. By the break, she was a dismal 1 for 11, a shooting line that would frankly embarrass even a rookie on a 10-day contract. She eventually limped her way to 6 makes on 20 attempts, totaling a mere 13 points on 20 shots. Let's be blunt here, that's dreadful. Not just below her usual MVP standards, but truly dreadful and utterly unacceptable for any WNBA starter, let alone the reigning MVP. Instead of asserting herself inside, throwing her weight around, and setting the tone like she's been celebrated for, Wilson noticeably floated outward, forcing contested fadeaways and desperate mid-range prayers, visibly rattled by Aaliyah Boston's absolutely relentless defense.
And then here we go. She gets a foul call with a 3-point game for, I don't know why they called that foul, but it's the third quarter and they want them to win. So here we go. Ace is up by 3. They call another foul for A'ja Wilson that isn't a foul. All right, so then they call another foul on the Fever that isn't a foul. And then to end the game after it's out of control because the Fever had a 6-point lead, but they kept calling fouls, another foul for A'ja Wilson that's not a foul. Ball don't lie, A'ja. Missed 11 shots in a row during this game.
Vegas didn't.
And here's the absolute kicker, the part that frankly enrages fans the most. Even as Wilson bricked her way through 3 quarters, the Aces still walked away with the win. Not because of her, but because everything else was so outrageously tilted in their favor. Jackie Young put on the kind of clutch performance that genuinely carried them across the finish line, dropping a huge 25 points and silencing Fever rallies with dagger jumpers, one after another. Chelsea Gray chipped in a calm and steady 15 points, bailing the offense out whenever it stalled. And Alyssa Smith, who's had her own stretches of inconsistency this season, came up with absolutely key plays that happened to land right when Vegas needed them most. So while Wilson clanked shot after shot, the combined efforts of her incredible teammates and the steady, unwavering hand of the refs stitched together just enough of a cushion to keep the scoreboard tilted squarely their way. But what makes all of this sting even more is the utterly ridiculous way the media spun it. Wilson's box score was screaming inefficiency at the top of its lungs, yet plenty of outlets dressed it up with flowery platitudes about her all-around impact. Oh, a rebound here, a block there, a couple of assists. Others quickly pivoted to praising the Aces' depth, but what truly got lost in translation, what almost everyone ignored, the real reason Wilson struggled so badly in the first place, Aaliyah Boston, possession after possession, Boston completely walled off the paint, denied her any space, and mercilessly forced Wilson into uncomfortable low percentage looks. When a league MVP shoots 30% on 20 attempts, let me tell you, that's not just an off, that's elite defensive execution by Boston. That's a star being absolutely neutralized, plain and simple. But instead of giving Boston the undeniable credit she earned, the narrative bent over backward to shamelessly protect Wilson's reputation.
2 as well.
Here's Hull working behind Boston. Boston was open. Great take, and Boston lays it in.
Even then, Wilson still managed to leave her mark on the game, just not in ways that deserve any respect whatsoever. Watch closely, and you'll see it. Elbows ruthlessly thrown under the basket, nasty undercuts during box outs, arms swinging dangerously into Indiana players, and almost none of it, absolutely none, was ever punished. Yet somehow, despite all this, she's still bizarrely portrayed as a victim. Becky Hammon even had the sheer audacity to complain post-game that Wilson only shot 1 free throw in 38 minutes. The irony here, Vegas had been practically living at the foul line this entire series. When you're already swimming in freebies, crying about not getting even more whistles isn't just laughable, it's downright insulting. The truth is simple, Indiana did their job, and they did it perfectly. They bottled up A'ja Wilson. They executed their defensive game plan to absolute perfection, with Boston leading the charge like a true general. And yet the Fever still lost because the officiating made absolutely sure Vegas never truly paid the price for Wilson's brickfest. That's precisely why this Aces win feels so incredibly hollow. This wasn't a superstar dragging her team to victory. This was a team explicitly bailed out by biased whistles and secondary scores while their supposed star was kept completely in check. Call it what it is, not dominance, but a protected escape.
Thought she got hit a lot tonight. To shoot 1 free throw in 38 minutes. I know they told me not to say anything, but I can't.
But Let's be real, it wasn't just the losses that left an absolutely sour taste, it was the entire officiating circus that completely stole the spotlight from the game itself. And that's precisely why Stephanie White finally snapped. She didn't sugarcoat it, she didn't toe the company line, not even a little bit. In her raw, emotional post-game interview, she delivered exactly what every player, every dedicated fan, and every honest analyst has been screaming for months. The WNBA desperately needs a full-scale investigation into its refereeing. Not just some quiet memo, not a hushed apology behind closed doors, but a real public reckoning, a true moment of accountability.
I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
Her exact unvarnished frustration was practically written all over her face. Look, White has been through countless battles as a player. She's dealt with her share of tough losses as a coach. But this was fundamentally different. This wasn't just basketball anymore. This was her team, her players. Lexi Hull putting her body on the line. Aaliyah Boston fighting through relentless triple teams. Kelsey Mitchell battling constant pressure, all of them getting robbed of the fair stage they undeniably earned. She called it out directly and unequivocally. The officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's actively compromising the very integrity of the game. And let me tell you, she's absolutely right. Think about it. How many times have we watched Caitlin Clark get hammered the last 2 seasons, with absolutely no whistle, only to watch the exact same contact be instantly rewarded on the other end? How many times has Aaliyah Boston fought tooth and nail for perfect position, only to get called for phantom fouls that materialized out of thin air? How often do hard-working players like Hall or Mitchell get unfairly punished for hustling, while their opponents shamelessly flop their way to easy free points? This series has simply been the ugly culmination of a deeply ingrained problem that's been brewing all season long, reaching a boiling point.
Here's Boston, back to Hull. Sets herself up. Mitchell is free, laying it in. Been a while since Mitchell has gotten a shot attempt. Mitchell will get one here. It's hit.
Stephanie White demanding accountability here is so much bigger than just the Fever. It's fundamentally about protecting the future, the very soul of the league itself. Because here's the undeniable truth. Without Caitlin Clark, without the Fever, without this unprecedented surge of brand new fans filling arenas and absolutely smashing TV ratings, the WNBA simply doesn't have this kind of spotlight, this level of attention. And yet, instead of actively protecting that incredible growth, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is sitting silently, doing nothing, while refs shamelessly tilt games and hand the defending champs lifelines they absolutely did not earn. Fans know it. Social media knows it. Even the most seasoned analysts know it. The only ones still pretending otherwise are comfortably sitting in the league office, desperately hoping all this noise will just die down. But thanks to Stephanie White, I promise you, it absolutely won't. Her call for a full-blown investigation isn't just raw frustration, it's the very first real demand for true accountability coming from someone actually inside the machine. And if Engelbert dares to ignore it, then the message to fans is crystal clear. The league doesn't genuinely care about fairness, it only cares about protecting its chosen preferred team. So here's the undeniable bottom line. White's courageous demand has already put the spotlight back exactly where it belongs, squarely on the corrupt officiating that is actively dragging this league down. And if there's any justice left in the world of basketball, her words will be the powerful spark that finally forces the WNBA to clean up its dirtiest, most hidden secret. Let us know down in the comments below if you think the WNBA will clean up this mess. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on another video. Click the video on the screen now, and we will see you in the next one.